And good afternoon to you. And today it's a big match, bursting with goals. We bring you action from 3 top games that between them produced 12 goals. In the next hour, you'll see the lot as we bring you Millwall against Charlton.
And so to it is! Almost getting in!
Manchester United against Southampton.
Law coming to meet him. This is Law trying the back heel for Bobby Charlton. Hennessy forward.
And Nottingham Forest against Leeds. And let me add that each game, I think, included a goal of quite classic proportions. We shall take a look at your letters. This week, something of particular interest to Crystal Palace and to West Ham supporters. Our studio guest is Ron Davis, that superb striker for Southampton and Wales. Let's make a start then at Millwall. Millwall made a bad start to the season with 2 defeats away from home, but they're a hard side and a good one, and they're always difficult to beat at the Den. And for this important derby game, at number 7, they have the former Spurs player, Derek Possey, back in the side. Possey missed the first 2 games of the season. Here he is with a thigh injury. Charlton, meanwhile, have the side that made such a strong run towards promotion last season, a side that I think always plays attractive football, and one which owes a great deal of its strength from the midfield understanding that exists between Alan Campbell, the 21-year-old Scot, here he is, and that experienced Welshman, Graham Moore. Now, a crowd of 20,000 waiting in South London for Mr. Walters of Bridgewater to start the game.
So Millwall, all in white, defending the goal to our right, kick-off in a match that has a lot of meaning in South London. 2 sides who for a long time were pressing towards promotion to the First Division last season. Alas, towards the end, Millwall faded away and finished 10th, but Charlton finished 3rd in the Second Division last season. And a lot of feeling whenever these 2 sides meet. Harry Cripps. Harry Boy, such a favourite here at the Den, looking for Possey. Kinsey covering for Charlton, the number 3. Brian Kinsey there. Signed professional 13 years ago for Charlton. And now a throw to Millwall. Former England player, made his name with Ipswich, Ray Crawford. Gregory finding Curtis. Gregory again, this time finding Campbell. A good break here by Campbell for Charlton. Crawford darting into a position, and so to it is! Almost getting in! A fumble there by King in the Millwall goal. An example of the heading ability of Tees. There he is. And King, who really had a magnificent game for Millwall up at Middlesbrough. Very uncharacteristic of him to fumble that one. Curtis again, who was in doubt almost up to the kick-off with a back injury. Bob Curtis. He's got Graham Moore outside him. Here's Moore. Nice little dummy there by Graham Moore. Trying to Crawford. Good save! And a good goal returned by this man, Ray Crawford. Very little space or time to get it in. And went there holding dear back, and quite rightly Mr. Walters, the referee from Bridgewater, giving a free kick to Millwall. Burnett to take the kick for Millwall. He's got 4 men to aim for, Deere, Possey, Weller and Bolland all in that penalty area, but 6 Charlton men back to guard them. There goes Possey. Looking to flick that one back, and it's a corner to Millwall. Kitchener making a move forward. There you see number 5 in the middle of the picture, Barry Kitchener, going towards that Charlton 6-yard box. Inside the 6-yard box, in fact. A low one. Away it goes from Kinsey. And another one. Gregory right back there, number 7. Tense moments this in the Charlton goal mouth. Here comes another low one. Coming right up to Deer again, and another corner. Now I wonder if he'll vary it this time. He's really had 2 corners and he's tried 2 low ones and really hasn't made very much progress with them, Brian Deer. Perhaps he'll float this one. Kitchener still waiting in that 6-yard area. Still a low one. And he almost got another corner out of it, but Gregory managed to save it. Free kick given against Charlton, and Tees not very happy with the treatment he was getting from Burnett. A free kick, in fact. Campbell having taken it. Gregory for Charlton. Curtis free on the right. Moore. Did well there, Moore, taking it away from Weller, finding a bit of space for himself. Free kick to Charlton. Moore again. Campbell right up there. Weller to Cripps. Oh, an acrobatic piece of work there by Curtis, but Posse still there. Number 7, Posse. Still going on, brought down, and it's a penalty. Brought down by Curtis. Posse brought down, and he looks happy with the result. And it's a penalty then to Millwall. And there's our shot from the other end of the field. Keith Weller, number 10, to do the captain's job for Millwall. He scored both Millwall goals so far this season, but neither of them come from penalties. Weller, the kicker. And it's there. Millwall ahead then. 19 minutes gone. Keith Weller, the scorer from the penalty. So Millwall ahead through Weller. Probably just a little bit against the run of the play, because certainly the more enterprising side in the first quarter of an hour or so was Charlton Athletic. But now they've work to do, and they've got a free kick. Kinsey to take it. Tees will go for this one. Kitchener getting just a couple of inches above him. And Millwall, of course, who've had a bad start to the season with 2 defeats. 4-1 against Bolton, 3-1 against Middlesbrough. Looking for a bit of sustenance here, you can be sure. Curtis now with the throw. It looks as though it might be a long one, too. Well, not as long as some, but Cripps is there. Curtis again. The far one in. Beautiful work by King. That really was a fine shot from the sharpest of angles by Curtis. But my goodness, what a magnificent save that was by Brian King. Showing the sort of form that he showed up at Ayresome Park in midweek. Although Millwall lost then, King apparently had a blinder there. Beautiful save. Corner then to Charlton. Graham Moore, number 10, right up in that 6-yard box you saw. Crawford lurking, so to his Tees. Went has come up to the edge of the box as well. Doing the safe thing. Campbell back again. In goes Tees. Good work again by King. So now it's Bolland to Deer. Peacock, oh, a very, very bad tackle there by Bolland. A very careless tackle indeed by the number 8, Bolland, on the Charlton player. And he's getting his name put in the book. Bolland having his name in the referee's book. And really that was a bad tackle, but a sporting gesture in the end. So it's a free kick to Charlton. In goes Tees. And again King holding it. Curtis. Oh, a bad slip there by Curtis. Covered by Wentz. Now Tees. Crawford in the middle, but the referee's whistle has gone. I think he's given handball against Matt Tees. And it's Burnett to take it again. Curtis standing a good foot higher than Posse, getting it. Burnett again. That was a very cool piece of play by Burnett, tricking Tees. And almost getting Posse unmarked, but the linesman's flag is up. I must say, he had escaped from the Charlton defence, and he was just a yard or so offside. Otherwise, that could have been very, very dangerous indeed for the men in red. Crawford flicking that on. Tees having his jersey tugged by Kitchener, and now doing a bit of it himself. Kinsey to Peacock. Campbell. Reeves. Another chance for Kinsey. Tees going for this one, nodding it on, not away by any means there. A chance there for number 8, Crawford. And King is hurt. Well, King is all right again. Gregory with the corner. And Posse not standing far enough off. And almost through by Crawford. So King obviously showing no ill effect. Graham Moore finding Gregory. Curtis making a good run, and he should have plenty of chance to get this across. He does, but too close to King. That really needed pulling back a bit, either to Crawford or Tees, who were waiting. Weller and Posse away. A misunderstanding here in the Charlton defence. Deere is up with him. Right out of his goal. He should have stayed back. Posse could only have chipped that a little higher. He won't have been very happy with that, because Wright, I would have thought, was incorrect coming quite so far out of his goal. If he could have only chipped it over Wright. Deere was waiting there, virtually with an empty goal. So the whistle then has gone for half-time, with Millwall going in at half-time, a goal ahead with this penalty after 90 minutes by number 10 in white, Keith Weller. But of course the man who's been a hero for Millwall in the first half is their goalkeeper, Brian King. Still to come in this match, highlights of Manchester United against Southampton and Nottingham Forest against Leeds United. But the half-time score here at the 10 is Millwall 1, Charlton Athletic 0. We shall be back in just a couple of minutes. So that's the situation then. Millwall a goal up as Charlton kick off in the second half here at the Den. Graham Moore for Charlton, the skipper. And I think really it's with he and Alan Campbell that so many of Charlton's hopes rest in midfield. Tees going up for this one. It seems that Campbell and Moore lost a little bit of their grip that they showed in the first quarter of an hour of the game towards half-time. If they can reassert themselves, then Charlton surely must have chances. But now it's Gregory with the corner then for Charlton Athletic. Paul Wentz gone right up there. What a bad one, though. Deere playing it off very nicely to Posse. Now, has he got the legs of Kinsey? He has indeed. Oh, no. Again, you get the experienced professional. A beautifully timed interception here by Brian Kinsey for Charlton. giving away a corner, but it could have been a lot more serious than that. Dare to take it. Weller standing at the near post for Millwall, perhaps to flick one on. Going past him though, Bolland getting up, but not sufficiently above it to enable him to head it down towards that Charlton goal. Gordon Bolland. Charlie Wright. He's heading it down for Kinsey. Got Peacock outside him. Good piece of play there by Peacock. Crawford. And a good shot on the turn by Crawford. Oh, a magnificent goal by Ray Crawford. What a beautiful goal. King just got his hands to it, but he could do no more than just turn it into the top corner. A magnificent goal of great quality by Ray Crawford. 1-1. There it is. Ray Crawford makes it 1-1 with just 2.5 minutes of the second half gone. And he looks pleased enough. So now it's Bolland to Posse. Millwall at once back on their heels. Posse turning it in for Brown very nicely though. And almost putting it into his own goal was Paul Went. That really was very close indeed. That honestly could have been no more than a foot wide of the post. And he obviously meant to play it a good deal wider than that. Paul Went. Corner then to Millwall. And someone's thrown a shoe onto the pitch. Weller with the throw. Bolland flicking that on well. Neal going in. Went away. Crawford. And now Curtis. Crawford bursting into the middle. Tees is waiting at the far side. Tees will go for this one, trying to get it on the volley. And a policeman at the far end, I don't know whether we can grab it at the far end, has now picked up that shoe. Went. What a dominant game Paul Went has had at number 5 for Charlton. With Burnett. Harassed by Tees all the way. That was a good piece of determined play by this number 9, Matt Tees. Kinsey for Charlton. Crawford calling for it in the middle. Coming towards Gregory, nodding it on. Charlton very determined in this half, but their understanding not quite matching it on that occasion there. Weller now for Millwall, playing very much a midfield role. Bolland, another midfield man. And Jack's making a burst, and this time it's Crawford coming back to mark him. Jack's going on, pulled down. And Mr. Walters has given a free kick, an indirect free kick, for that foul on George Jacks. The arm raised aloft indicating an indirect free kick. The Charlton wall has lined up. Weller to take it. Kitchener's gone right up into the ruck. And he won't be so far from this one. Wright punching away. In goes Brown. Straight into the arms of Wright. That was a bit of luck. And Wright using his elbows there on Kitchener. I don't think Mr. Walters could have seen it. And the ball gone into touch on the other side. Kitchener now on his feet. And a few things, paper cups being slung onto the pitch. And certainly there's no question in my mind that Charlie Wright used his elbows on Barry Kitchener. Whether Kitchener was harassing him just a little too much in that situation, I don't know. But now Wright is occupied in throwing the paper cups back. There's a great surge of supporters, or at least one can not really call them supporters, around our rostrum at the moment, who are fighting. I can see fighting all around me down beneath me here as the two sets of supporters are getting stuck into each other. And Mr. Walters coming across now to have a word with the linesman. And having had his word, he goes to Brian Deere. And still the paper cups are being flung onto the pitch. And it looks as though the Millwall substitute is coming on. Eamon Dunphy in the far side, you can see him there, has taken his tracksuit top off. Dunphy ready to come on by the look of it for Millwall. I'm not sure who will be going off. Neil. And now it's Graham Moore. Cripps to Deere. Played off for Posse, but Posse had little enough time. And now it's Peacock. Challenged all the way by Crawford. They're giving away a free kick. So it's Jackson. It looks as though Dunphy is coming on now. They're trying to attract the attention of the referee to make the substitution. Posse for Millwall. Curtis having a rapid change of mind, although he wasn't under any great pressure. He was going to press that ball back to right, and then he gave away the corner. On comes Dunphy, and off goes Billy Neal, number 11. So Eamon Dunphy, Republic of Ireland international, and a very talented ball player indeed, is on for Millwall. Sort of player whose tricks are always popular with the crowd, and there he is in that penalty area now to look for this corner from Weller. Bolland getting up well. Burnett. Brown. Stops his first touch of the ball. And not a bad one either. Straight to Brown. 2 men in the middle. Oh, and he had to pull that one back for Posse or for Deere. Gregory. Again with as much room as he wants down the right. Tees outside him. Played to Tees. Tees getting another chance. And a corner off Kitchener. Peacock certainly taking his time to get out there to take it. It's hot, but I've no doubt with so little time left that Charlton are very happy to take away a point from the Den. Moore just unable to get to that one. Cripps not really getting it away. Campbell looking to place it back again. Crawford, and he's still onside, and he's very, very slow to try and get past King. That really was a heaven-sent chance for Ray Crawford. I don't think he could have believed his luck that the whistle hadn't gone. He certainly looked as though he may have been offside. Tees. Now Reeves for Charlton. play there by Peacock. Tees going in. Kitchener again dominant there. Deep in defence. Dunphy. Good control, taking that one on his toe. Burnett. Jacks. Finding Posse. Trying his luck inside again. Bolland's a little slow to move to that one to really challenge Graham Moore. Curtis is making that break down the right. Gregory with the ball at the moment. Crawford now. Watched by Burnett, a corner. And with so little time left now, this really must be possibly the last chance for Charlton. Gregory with the corner. Curtis. A dummy to Graham Moore. Oh, well over. Well, he seems happy enough with the point. And there, in fact, goes the final whistle, with Ray Crawford having equalised in the second half with that magnificent goal for Charlton, with Keith Weller, number 10, having put Millwall ahead from the penalty in the first half. So the final score here is Millwall 1, Charlton 1.
So that's how it finished then, 1-1, a point apiece. A tough, dour, but I always thought a very entertaining game. And of course the brightest moment of all was that magnificent equalising goal for Charlton by Ray Crawford just after half-time. Let's have another look at that, this time from our camera behind the goal. Here we see Brian Kinsey. And he's got Peacock outside him, and he's little pass there to Peacock. And now you'll see that Peacock beats Brown for sheer speed. And Crawford there, waiting in the centre. A beautiful shot, King just getting his hands to it, and that's that. That really was a quite superb goal. But, Jimmy, as I say, it was a tough game, wasn't it?
Yes, I was sitting next to Stan Cullis, actually, who came down supposedly to watch a striker, perhaps Keith Weller or somebody like that. And the first thing he said, he'd been there 5 minutes, and it was on my mind as well, I think the referee should have taken a firmer grip of this game straight away. And I agree. Not that he didn't blow the fouls. He blew his whistle, gave a foul, and that was that on both sides. But I think at that point, he should have done a little bit of finger-wagging at the players and let them know that he didn't want that kind of unreasonable tackle. It wasn't a filthy game, I mean, but there were too many stoppages. I think this is what spoiled the flow of it and left the spectators a little disappointed at the end. And although players are said to commit fouls, I think referees, by taking a firm line at the right time and in the right way, can limit the number of fouls, reduce them by half.
And yet the penalty that he gave, well, after 19 minutes to Millwall, that's in dispute. Certainly so far as Charlton are concerned, their manager Eddie Fermani thinks that it was a harsh decision. Did you agree with that?
Well, I think if I'd been managing Charlton, I might have done, but I wouldn't disagree with that penalty. I wouldn't disagree with the decisions that the referee made yesterday, only that I think he should have been firmer early on. Just look at Posse. Here is the penalty coming up. Look at that lovely sprinting action there. Tremendous speed. And he stops Curtis, just slows him down, and then goes on again, and that's what catches him. And you can see there the leg, look, there it is, taking his left leg away, and a lovely theatrical dive, but nevertheless, he would have found it very difficult to have stood up. And of course, it was after that that Posse jumped up and said, look, lads, I've got a penalty, isn't it marvellous? And people thought, oh, well, he was putting it on. He was pleased that he'd beaten Curtis, and because of that, he got a penalty.
And although we couldn't see it from that angle, it was, in fact, what, a yard and a half inside the penalty area, so there were no doubts on that score either.
No.
And then it was left to Keith Weller, the man who scored both Millwall goals, in fact, so far.
Well, yes, we can. There you can see him now coming up to take the penalty, and the viewers can have a chance to see what it feels like to take a penalty in a league match.
To the right or to the left, I wonder?
Which way is he going to... The goalkeeper goes to the right, and there he calmly steers it with the side of his foot. For those of you who believe in having penalties blasted, carefully controlled shot into the left-hand corner of the net.
Well, that penalty put Millwall ahead, Jimmy, but I think it would have been very unfair on their form yesterday if Charlton hadn't got at least a point, don't you?
I would agree, yes, and that goal that they got it with would have made them even more pleased. It really was a super goal, and I think it showed the way forwards are learning to deal with packed defences now. They realise that they've got little time, and they've got to try and create goals out of nothing. I think 5 years ago, a forward wouldn't have tried what Crawford tried yesterday to get this into the back of the net. This is it developing on the left wing. It was one of the few times in the game that Peacock got past Brown, but he does fall in this time and get down the line, catches him flat-footed there, and the cross wasn't a very good one. I think he meant to hit it a little harder. But it's from then on, as the ball comes over, that Crawford turns this into a goal. First of all, he's moving towards the right, throws his opponent off balance, then comes away from him. That's the dummy. You can see his opponent there being thrown to the right, turns and hooks the ball beautifully on the turn. Very difficult skill, right for the far corner of the net. And actually, King makes a desperate attempt to get it, does actually touch it, but he can't stop it going in the back of the net.
So much then for that Derby game at the Den. I must say I enjoyed my day down there. But now it's time to look at some of your letters. And several big match viewers have drawn our attention to something they spotted in last week's game between Manchester City and Sheffield Wednesday at Main Road. I must say it's something that we also spotted ourselves last season when Spurs played a sixth-round cup tie up at Main Road. Last Saturday, two ice cream or soft drink vendors were moving around behind the City goal when Sheffield Wednesday were awarded a penalty. And Mr. Noble of Hertfordshire, an admirer of Manchester City, believes that this should be stopped. It's a distraction. Mr. Roger Thompson of Gants Hill, Essex, believes, in rather sinister terms, that it is perhaps too much of a coincidence. Well, let's look now. Here's Eustace taking that penalty, or at least putting a ball on the spot. There are the salesmen behind the goal. Now, you'll find there that the referee is ordering those salesmen to move along so that Eustace will not be distracted and can take the penalty. And he's not letting the penalty be taken until those salesmen are out of the way. So whatever their intentions, I think on this occasion they're blameless. But Mr. A.W. John of Cardiff claims that the Manchester City number 4 was standing inside the half circle at the edge of the penalty area when Eustace took the kick. There he is, look. Number 4, his left foot quite definitely inside that half circle. And he poses the question, should Peter Eustace's kick have been retaken? Well, here's Eustace banging home the penalty. Should it have been retaken?
No, the referee was absolutely right in allowing the goal to stand because although the number 4 encroached into the penalty area, he's not allowed to gain an advantage for breaking the laws. If the penalty had been missed, the referee could then, because of that encroachment, have asked for it to be taken again.
The next letter comes from Elizabeth Goodwin of London E3, who went to watch Crystal Palace play Manchester United last Saturday, but she claims she saw nothing because the crowd was so huge. She wonders why the gates weren't closed earlier, why no gates were left open so that she could get out again. She talks of Victorian conditions inside Victorian football grounds, and so we showed her letter to the Crystal Palace chairman, Arthur Waite. His reply: how can gates be open to let people out when 48,000 are trying to get in, says Mr. Waite. We're altering the ground from the Victorian era. That's why we've spent £300,000 on it. From 48,610 spectators, the club have had only 17 complaints, which have been dealt with, leaving 17 satisfied customers. The last letter today comes from Richard Stevens of Battersea. He wants to see, a goal by Ronnie Boyce of West Ham, and really it's not as easy as you'd think, Richard. I checked with Hammer's secretary, Eddie Chapman, who tells me that Ronnie Boyce hasn't scored a league goal, in fact, in the last 2 seasons. But he did get West Ham's winner in the 1964 Cup final against Preston in the last minute. There's Boyce going in with a header. So West Ham win the Cup back in 1964. Now it's time to come to the second match on the big match today, the clash at Old Trafford between Manchester United and Southampton. The pictures come from Granada Television. Your commentator is Gerald Sinstadt, and Manchester United are the side in the darker shirts.
Payne. Davis and Fuchs together there. Davis. Cleared away to Sadler for United. Kidd slipping his man very well there, and McGrath lately pulling him down. Mr. Jennings, the referee from Worcestershire, gives the free kick. McGrath acknowledges his sins. I didn't like that little flick from Cherry Payne. Burns. Kidd. And number 1 for Willie Morgan. Beautifully intercepted. McGrath under that. Fisher to Payne, but Best beats him to it. Only Law there, and plenty of defence for Southampton. Saul fouling Best. Loose one by Brennan. Southampton so far very variable in their passing. Law, but I don't think Morgan can make that one. That's back to Jerry Gerald. Saul. Fisher. Payne behind him. Coming up now. Good dummy run. Gave Fisher the room on his other side. Sydenham. Good cross too. Davis. 1-1. Ron Davis very pleased. Fisher congratulating him. Fisher who started the move. Sydenham's fine cross and Davis's head. Freeran. Sadler under it, couldn't control it. Hooked away by Sydenham. Go Fuchs. And now Francis Burns. Kidd climbing high to that. Morgan, Best. Law coming to meet him. This is Law trying the back heel for Bobby Charlton. Payne. Davis back to Payne. Sydenham. 3 men in the penalty area for Southampton. And looking for Davis again, and he's got it again! And it's an own goal. I don't think it could have been stopped from going in, but it's been given. Whether in fact that was Davis's goal or whether it was an own goal is very difficult to say. This half, not yet quite as exciting as the first. A lot of incident in midfield in this half. Gabriel. Just 2 men with him. Sydenham called for that on the left. Now 3 men in the middle if Sydenham can pinpoint his cross. This is where the danger came from in the first half. Over it comes. Davis, number 3! Magnificent goal again by Davis, and once more United caught, and Davis comes across to congratulate Sydenham as well he might. How well John Sydenham has flighted these crosses onto Davis's head. Freeran to Best. Morgan going down the right touchline. Charlton through the middle, and Kidd and Law. Charlton. Kidd just beside him. Law offside. Southampton defence moved forward very smartly. Jones. Payne. Fisher. Sadler back to Rimmer. Freeran. Fuchs. Fuchs coming forward, nothing to be gained by staying back now. And still going. Well played, Fuchs. Saul. Davis trying to exploit this with Fuchs out of position. And Davis has still got it. This could be his hat-trick. It is!
Well, did he score 3 goals or did he score 4? That really is the only thing that's still in question. What is not in question is that Ron Davies was undoubtedly the outstanding figure in that match at Old Trafford yesterday. We're delighted that he's our big match guest today. With him now is Jimmy Hill.
Was it 3 or 4, Ron?
Well, Jim, to tell the truth, I thought it was 4.
You did? You prepared to argue that?
Definitely, yes.
Well, you'll have a chance in a minute when we can look at the pictures. But first of all, what I'm interested in, what was your view of Manchester United? Are they over the hill?
Well, on yesterday's showing, I thought they were a bad side. Up front, they're just a team of individuals, and at the back, they're just wide open. There's no cohesion there whatsoever.
There's been lots of talk that Wolf McGuinness is harder in the training, getting them really fit. Would you say they appeared fitter than they did last season?
No, not really. They look rather ragged to me, but, when you're having a bad time, and things are going against you, things always look like this.
Of course, it could have been that Southampton were really brilliant, and Ron Davies in particular.
Well, we played a new system, 4-4-2, and it worked really well for us. I had the 2 wingers back, and for me it was great.
4-4-2. Just go into that a bit more for me. That's 4 in the back line, 4 in the middle line, just
2
up
up front. That's right.
And you're one of the 2 up front,
Yeah,
with whom?
With Frank Saul.
Yeah. And you how have you played before? 4-3-3?
4-3-3, yeah, that's right.
So you bring one person back into the middle line and you score 4 goals away.
That's right, yeah.
Well, let's have a look how it works out in pictures. Anyway, the first goal was a typical Davies header from a beautiful movement. I'd love you to talk over this and show us just how it came about, because it was a real old-fashioned type football goal with all its beauty. Here it comes up now.
Well, let's Fisher with the ball there. He gives a great crossfield pass to John Sydenham. Sydenham collects it and plays it first time past the full-back. Beats him for speed.
Look at that acceleration there. He's
Fantastic acceleration, John's got, yes. Drags it on the inside.
Lovely little journey over it.
And cracks it over with his right foot. And I'm waiting there at the far post.
Where are you? Just coming
in now, that's it, yeah, over the back of Bill Fowkes there. Over it comes. And that's it.
Lovely how you sit there and just say, and that's it, a thing of beauty like that.
I think I can thank John for that goal anyway.
He really did wonderfully well.
Yeah, he done very, very well indeed, yeah.
Now, the second one is the disputed one.
That's right. Yes.
This is the one that you think you scored, and some of the papers this morning are giving his own goals, some are crediting it to you. Just explain what happened there.
Well, the second goal was another cross from John Sydenham, right over to the far post. I head it down, and Burns seems to push it, and Burns rushes in and seems to shove it into the net. Whether or not it was in the net before he touched it, I do not know.
You think it was over the line?
Well, I asked the referee half-time, and he said it definitely was. He was going to give it.
Well, just watch now. We can look at this in slow motion. Here comes the crossover from John Sydenham. There you go, screaming in as usual, on the far post, up in the air, and bouncing down. Now, it touches the goalkeeper, beats him. Now, where's it going to drop? There it is. It's not in the goal yet. And there is a slight push, I think, from Frank Saul, and a diving Burns scrambling the ball into the net. What's the decision now, Ron?
Well, so it looks a wee bit different on film, but I still hope to claim it anyway.
Nothing if not honest. Well, there was no doubt about the goal that came after that anyway. Whether you scored 3 or 4, I don't think is important as the significance of that win for Southampton going into Europe this year. But the goal after that, again, was a far post goal.
That's right. Another cross from John Sydenham once again.
Yeah, he had quite a useful game yesterday.
Had a very good game indeed, yeah. Terrific.
Here he is, out on the line.
There he goes, yes.
Ready to whip the ball over. And you, as usual, are on the far post waiting to do your job of work. Here it comes. Acceleration again,
Fantastic.
That lovely acceleration. And a beautiful cross. Left foot this time, right in the air. And there you come, a real leap. Little bit of jostling going on there between you and your opponent, but there's no doubt about the ball going into the net at the end. What do you think about that pushing and shoving?
Oh, you get this all the time in professional football, don't you? Yeah.
You think you
half
pushed him a bit there?
Not really, no. I just got up at the back of him, and managed to get it in, yeah.
I'm rather interested because all those goals were scored on the far post, and we've seen on the big match, and we know these days so many are scored on the near post. Jeff Hurst gets rather more of his headers on the near post. Do you always go to the far post for crosses?
I always go to the far post, yes. I don't like going to the near post. I think it's a lot more difficult to get goals on the near post.
You do? You
do,
prefer to the old-fashioned system?
The old-fashioned system, far post and bang.
Well, just let's say we're talking of old-fashioned things. You got the last one by means of an old-fashioned shoulder charge, which was perfectly fair. We're going to see this in quick motion this time, you bursting through the middle to show that you can shoot on goal as well as head. And here it comes now. There's a long ball, you're racing for it. A bit of a shoulder charge. Whoops. Think that was fair?
That was very fair, yeah.
What about the Southampton side? Are they good enough to win Europe? I know you're in it and you've got a good first round.
Well, we've had a bad start to the season. We lost our first 2 matches. Our biggest disappointment was losing to West Brom, first match of the season. We went to Wolverhampton and they're playing well at the moment, and as I say, well, the first 2 games we played a 4-3-3, and on Saturday we reverted to a 4-4-2.
Is the new system going to win you a European competition?
Well, I hope, we're all hoping so anyway,
Ron, I hope it does. For your sake and for Southampton, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know about you, but I reckon that was 3 goals to Ron Davies and not 4. But a wonderful performance nonetheless, and we're, of course, very grateful on the big match that Ron took the trouble to drive up from Southampton to be with us on the programme. Incidentally, we know well enough what a hawk-eyed lot you big match viewers are. There really is something that you could have spotted today. I just wonder if you have. Now we come to our last match, the visit of Leeds United, the champions, to Nottingham Forest. The pictures this time come from ATV. The commentator is Hugh Johns. Leeds United in all white.
Giles. Good ball for Gray. And Eddie Gray deciding that he would catch everybody unawares and try a volleyed shot. Miskicked completely. Gray, like Lorimer, can strike a very firm ball. Hunter for Gray. Hunter. Shot on. Hennessy heading out. Harris. Newton. Hunter and Gray. Now Hunter. Cross ball for Clark. Alan Clark. Alan Clark, the scorer. His second goal since he joined Leeds United from Leicester. Hennessy. Winfield looks as though he's running into trouble with a lot of white shirts there. Hennessy forward. Chance now for Moore. Hall. A tremendous save then by Sprague, and the excitement was just too much for Colin Hall. The chance of slotting in a rebound equaliser. So it's Lorimer now. Jones. Lorimer or Gray. McKinlay, Clark in. Clark down, a penalty. Winfield, the foul on Clark, and Tommy Dawes pointing positively to the penalty spot. And in fact taking his book out, and the 4th man of the afternoon goes into referee Dawes' book. Number 3, John Winfield. Johnny Giles scored a penalty at home against the Spurs in a 3-1 win. Game before last. There goes Giles now. Two-0, Leeds United. Chapman forward for Moore. Winfield. Hall. Moore. Lyons. Chance for Newton. Yes! Get off the foot of Rees. Ronnie Rees. And it's 2-1 now to Leeds United. Free kick by Johnny Giles. We haven't seen the understanding that Leeds have built up between Giles and Bremner. We've seen rather little of it this afternoon. Eddie Gray with a chance. Oh, yes! Oh, that was a sad moment. Eddie Gray. Number 11, Eddie Gray with the scorer. Winfield not getting a free full clearance on the ball. Bremner now for Giles. Lorimer, Gray on the far side wanting it. Gray facing Rees. Now Harris. Chance for Lorimer. Wow, what a goal!
And that's how it finished there. 4-1 to Leeds United, and I'm sure you'll agree that they look real champions again. That's all, though, from the big match today. Hope you've enjoyed it. There'll be another big match for you, needless to say, at 10-3 next Sunday. Let's finish, though, with the last bit of action. A look at a goal once more that even had Ron Davies out of his seat this afternoon. The goal by Ray Crawford against Millwall yesterday.
Good piece of play there by Peacock. Crawford. And a good shot on the turn by Crawford. Oh, magnificent goal by Ray